Wednesday is the first day to file paperwork to enter the New Hampshire primaries. It's a tradition that will bring nearly every presidential candidate into a small second-floor office at the State House in Concord over the next few weeks. The Associated Press reports that this Connecticut man was the first to register for the primary. Mark Stewart Greenstein also ran in 2016. He jumped into the Connecticut River to attract attention to his campaign, but he ultimately finished with just 29 votes. South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg also stopped by the office Wednesday to submit his paperwork and speak with the New Hampshire Secretary of State. The latest poll from the University of New Hampshire and CNN shows Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders leading in the state, but within the margin of error. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren is 3 points behind him, and former Vice President Joe Biden is 3 points behind her. CBS News campaign reporter Nicole Sganga covers New Hampshire, and she joins me now from Concord outside the State House where filing takes place. All right, Nicole, so what does it mean now that the filing period is open?
Well, in short, Elaine, it means that this is finally real. Candidates are filing in this building behind me, the state capitol. Mayor Pete Buttigieg, you mentioned, was here earlier today, and everyone shuffles candidates, supporters, volunteers, reporters into one tiny office, the office of Secretary of State Bill Gardner. He has been Secretary of State for 43 years now. This is his 11th presidential primary filing. And so a storied tradition here in New Hampshire dating back for years. In 1995, presidential candidate Bob Dole made a name for himself coming in on a train and entering into the State House with a marching band. Back in 2016, Senator Bernie Sanders held a massive rally right here where I'm standing. So every candidate does it differently, but certainly a huge tradition in the first in the nation state.
Well, Nicole, what is actually required of candidates hoping to get their name on the ballot?
Not much. Candidates just need to submit a declaration of candidacy and a certified check for $1,000. But don't worry, Elaine, if you can't afford that, you can also submit just 100 signatures, 10 from each county, all 10 counties here in New Hampshire. And that's on purpose. The New Hampshire primary is purposefully wide open, so it often ends up, New Hampshire voters end up with quite a crowded ballot. But again, Secretary of State Bill Gardner reinforcing that idea today that anyone who wants to run for President of the United States should be able to file here in the Granite State. And certainly in 2020, we've got quite a crowded field of Democratic contenders, so we expect to see all of them filing in and filing for the primary within the next 13 business days.
Yes, it's going to be a very busy time for you, Nicole Sganga. So you mentioned Pete Buttigieg filing his paperwork today. What exactly did he tell reporters afterwards?
Well, Mayor Pete Buttigieg has been to the Granite State a number of times. He spent 19 days here, 11 trips. That's a considerable amount of time spent in the first in the nation primary state. And he said that he's working to appeal to independent voters here, of which we know there are 42% of New Hampshire voters are independents, and also Republican-leaning voters, moderate voters, trying to build a coalition that comes from all sides of the aisle. He did say, asked by a New Hampshire reporter, how he plans to compete against the home team, so to speak, nearby Senators Elizabeth Warren from neighboring Massachusetts and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. He said that if you want the most ideologically left candidate, well, you've already made up your mind, so you're probably not going to vote for me. But again, hoping that his quote-unquote progressive ideas can still attract a wide coalition. He also set himself apart from former Vice President Joe Biden, saying that it's time for America to turn to a new page.
Well, Nicole, who else can we expect this week? Are there any surprises in store?
Well, we'll certainly be looking for all of the candidates to arrive, and the ones who don't show up, as you know, Elaine, won't be on the New Hampshire primary ballot, which could be interesting. But also, the incumbent president has to represent him or herself in some way. So we expect on November 7th for Vice President Mike Pence to make an appearance right here at the state capitol. Also coming to the Granite State to give remarks at the University of New Hampshire on that day is former Ohio Governor John Kasich. Now, a source close to the former governor of Ohio tells me that he has no plans or announcements set as of yet, but certainly that appearance here in New Hampshire is drumming up some speculation. We should note that a recent CNN poll put out yesterday put the President of the United States approval rating at around 44%, but still 86% of Republicans here in New Hampshire said they plan to vote for the president in the New Hampshire primary. So any challenger, be it, some of the other Republican challengers who will make appearances here, Bill Weld, Joe Walsh, Mark Sanford, they've got a tough road ahead of them.
All right. And we heard that California Senator Kamala Harris plans to cut her campaign team with redeployments from New Hampshire expected. Nicole, what does the senator's Granite State operation look like, and what does this mean for her prospects in New Hampshire?
Well, Senator Kamala Harris has a lean team here in the Granite State, around 20 full-time staff members here. That's only a fraction of some of the larger teams held by Senator Bernie Sanders and Senator Elizabeth Warren. The memo released today by the Harris campaign said in the coming weeks we will deploy many staff from New Hampshire, Nevada, California, and some staff from headquarters to Iowa, which certainly got a few supporters and voters I spoke with nervous about her prospects for right here in the Granite State. She has not been here since the September New Hampshire Democratic Convention. She has made 6 trips to New Hampshire, spending 10 days here, but certainly certain supporters are a bit concerned about what this could mean for her prospects here.
All right, Nicole Sganga in New Hampshire. Nicole, covering it all there for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.